Here we go. And we have this one here, great. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Tivoli facts very shortly, and then I will tell you a little bit about who are our employees actually, because that makes it very interesting why we have actually a mobile intranet. And then a little bit about strategy, governance, and then of course, let's go and let's see it. If we were founded in 1843, and we're not very big place, it's in the center of Copenhagen. We have 4.2 million, so it's the 5th largest amusement park in Europe. And we have around 300,000 loyalty card holders, and that's going to be very interesting because it's one of our tools that we're actually trying to integrate with the new intranet. It's a program park, we call it. We don't call it an amusement park because an amusement park is really like Disney, where you have nearly only amusements. We also have a lot of music. We have our own ballet company. We have our own symphony, big band, whatever. So we have a lot of music, theaters, and so many other things. And we are open now 230 days per year. And why is that interesting? Yes, it's interesting because it tells something about that in the old days we were open from the beginning of May to the end of August, and then the rest of the year nobody was there. So now it actually tells that our business has grown, and we need to communicate more. We need to have tools closer to us all year round. We are on the stocks, and a little bit, of course, we have some concert halls, and we have open air stages, also some of the tools I'm going to show you. And we have 2,556 live acts. That's a lot. Who's going to keep track of those? How are you going to find it? How are you going to plan it and stuff like that? We integrated that in, on the internet as well. I'm going to show you that as well. And then we have more than 40 restaurants, cafes, and bars, and we can seat around 10,000 on one time. And that's just telling something about that we have a lot of people in Tivoli working there that's actually not communicated some kind of a service or something, but they're maybe waiters, and they need some other kind of information, which makes it a little bit more difficult for us to reach them. Yes, as I told you, we have a lot of different kinds of employees, as you can tell. We have ballet dancer, cooks, waiters, actors, engineers, administrative people, stuff like that. We have 500 approximately that are actually working all year round. And when we are in high season, we are around 1,000 more. And then we have all our tenants that have restaurants in Tivoli, and they are around 1,500. So that means we are 3,000. In the old days, we were Tivoli workers, and there were all the tenants. And we would only communicate with Tivoli workers. Now we're actually getting closer to maybe we should also integrate all the tenants and their employees. And that's going to make it very interesting for the next level of this SharePoint internet. 20% are the only that works actually with a computer. That's not a lot, and that's because they're working outside in the garden. They are either a gardener, or they're a carpenter, or they are a service in the front, or they are playing music, or they are an actor. So they are not communicating with a lot of, except that they meet in the canteen or something else. Very young, a range of very young people and old people, but mostly are, of course, because it's seasonal service people, so they're very young. It means that we need to be a little bit more social, we need to be a little bit on the beat, otherwise they will never go in and look up information about us. So, and why do we say about Wi-Fi? Yes, we provide all people, the 500 that works all year round, with their smartphone, and all the others can bring their own device. And we therefore have rolled out the Wi-Fi all over the garden, so they can at least use the intranet. For the last 10 years, we have been undergoing a lot of new strategy on IT. The reason why I told you why we're open 230 days a year is because in the old days, when we were only open 5 months or something like that, we didn't need that many IT projects or new systems and whatever. But now we actually do. And then they started buying a little bit here for this restaurant and something else there, and so on and so on. And suddenly we found ourselves that we have 56 different kinds of IT systems all over the garden. Nobody knew anything about them, and they couldn't talk to each other and stuff like that, and it was so expensive. So we started to think maybe we should narrow it very much down, and maybe we should find a platform. And that's why we started to do this new intranet for 2 years ago, and did it on SharePoint, and we wanted to integrate everything. So that's a long journey, but we came along, I think. We have 9 main areas. So the CEO meets with his management down there. And we have the governance that is equally shared by IT, HR, and communication, where I am. And now we also are a part of the overall strategy, which I found very interesting. And when we started, we said we really want, if we were going to use the new, make a new intranet, we're going to do it, of course, on mobile. We're going to do it, everything, we're going to test it on mobile platforms. Otherwise, we will find ourselves 5 years later and say, oh, it didn't work, let's go one more time. So that's why we did that. We had some other rules that you can see there. And this one, for those of you who have been working with SharePoint and still do, you know there's a lot of challenge in doing this. And it was not easy, I have to say. You have to go on compromising sometimes. But we made the strategy that when we started, we said from now on, and 6 months later, we're gonna launch this. And maybe something will not work, but we will do it later on, because otherwise we will keep on doing it and doing it and doing it. So let's go. Log on. Our intranet, everyone has a personal login, and they log in through. Sorry? It is here.
I saw a tiny bit of it. Coming up. So it's gone again.
Maybe I shouldn't have been reading.
Gone again.
You know what? I'm going to show you this. I'm sorry, I would have really loved to go online, but it doesn't seem to work. And I'm going to explain it here. This is our front page, and I'm going to show you also all the mobile platforms and how we did those. This is the front page. As you can see, we really cleared it out in some kind of a way. In the old days, we had so many information. So we're really bombing our employees with information. The top of the things are actually built from, we have a little guidebook in Tivoli that is here. And that's a little guide service book that all the service people out in the garden have. And that's because when you are wearing a Tivoli on your clothes, a lot of the guests will ask you, so how old is NIMP, and when were you founded, and where can I find the toilets, and how much is the ticket for your birthday party, and stuff like that. And all the information they could find here. And we figured, so a lot of people, 1,000 people, and all the tenants' employees knows this book. They know how we built it, know when and where to find the information. So why not keep that over here for the intranet, because then they could use their mobile phone instead. And we don't have to print this. So we built actually the same structure here, and then we put some more tools into that I'm going to show you. There's a little bit of news. We have some tools in the front. Today you can see that only here we have something about arbejdsulykker and being away from when you're sick and so on. And when we are open, we also have the weather report, how many are in the garden, how many are we expecting today, and stuff like that. But because we're off season right now, we don't have those numbers in. And in the bottom of it, we have a calendar in the front. It's very important because, as I told you, we are a program park, and therefore we have the most important things happening today. It's not everything. For example, we have Pretzel going around the park, 10 times a day. It's not interesting because everyone knows it's every half hour. So you don't need to pull that out on the front page. That's very important. But as you can see here, we have in our concert halls 2 musicals and 1 theater thing, and so therefore we pull it out so everyone can see, oh, it's this time it's going to start. And then we also in the bottom have some tools which we found interesting. Of course, the telephone, the organization. We have a press feed of everything that's been written in the newspaper today of Tivoli and stuff like that. This is a phone list. It's not very. We really wanted to do something special about it, but we don't have a very good and very integrated HR system, unfortunately. We're going to have that, say, later on. So right now it's this simple thing on SharePoint. It's a list alphabetically, but we have people there, and we have also locations you can look after, and we also have tenants if you need to get in contact with them. This is just for one of my co-workers. So it's very simple, as you can see. We really want to roll out later on more my side thing, so we get more information about who is Anders, where is he actually working, what's his skills, stuff like that. This is the press feed. So we have around 13,000 clips every year. So there everyone can read about what's happening in Tivoli or what's the newspaper telling about Tivoli today. And the first tool. As you can imagine, in the garden, we have a lot of workers, of carpenters and gardeners and stuff like that. And of course, when we are old garden, more than 170 years, it takes a lot of time also to fix it. So when you are out in the garden and you see something and you say, oh, this bench is not looking well, there's something wrong with that, it's actually broken or something like that. In the old days, I would go up, would call down to the carpenter or something and say, oh, you know what I saw in the garden today? Or I don't remember it, or even meet him later on and say, oh, yesterday I saw something. Oh, you did? So then he would send someone out looking for the bench to fix. Go back and figure out who's going to make it, how to make it, and stuff like that. Now we can actually report it directly. I wrote in here, just for an example, it's very well, but I wrote in here, there's a door that's actually broken. So I put in, who do I think should fix it, and where is it actually located? And if I really cannot describe where it's located, I can take a photo with my iPhone, and then I can push it to the right person, and then we'll come and fix it. And the same we have for IT. If I have a problem with my IT, I can ask IT the same thing. And actually do that when they are every morning looking all the mail through, they're searching out and see, oh, what is very important for the customers? Where can we benefit? First of all, it's about the customers need to be secured in our amusement, of course. That's most important. Then it's about if it's some kind of way how the customers are experience the garden. That's important because they paid 100 kroners to get in the garden. If they see that everything is a mess, they don't come again, and then I don't make money. So they're going to do a priority list every morning so that we actually fix it. And it has helped us a lot. This one here is our garden calendar. It is a very complex system that actually combined that in all our locations, in all our venue halls and concert open air stages, whatever, we have a list of what is actually going on. And we can put in information about when is it actually starting, when are people getting in the concert hall, when there is a break, what do they need to eat, the people that are playing the play, whatever. Is there something else we need to know? Is there something, celebration with flowers? Put it in there. And you can actually look on the top of it. You can actually, by yourself, put a date in, or you can put a period in, and you can look for locations. If you say, if someone asks you, I have a birthday on the 29th of June, do you know what's happening on the lawn, on the big open air stage, exactly that day? And I can look at there. So transmit everything and all the information I know. This is a very useful tool, especially for all the service people out in the garden, because a lot of people ask things like that. Because they know already that they're going to celebrate something, or they will come back later, or I have my kids with me next year, so we have something there. This is an article, just to show you a little bit there, that we wanted to, some kind of way, showed a little bit more as we know from newspapers. It was very important for us that it was not just totally text everything. So we can combine it with a lot of photos as well. This is a button of an article. We have a comment. It's not that many who actually use it, but it starts a little bit more and more, and you can see that people are actually trying to get in. Mostly they're just celebrating that, oh, that was very good, I love this rock program. Is this coming as well? And stuff like that. But it starts a little bit more, and we have likes as well. It's much more easy, of course, to like than just to write a comment. But it's a nice feature. This is the news feed. It is that on the front page, we say that all news that's on the front page is that we really need to know to do your job and to know something about Tivoli. If you're going under the news here, the section here, you will find a lot more. There you have, it could be nice to know something about it. And then we have upside down, the board, where there's something you said, I don't really need it to know to do my job, but it could be nice to know. A lot of the management, they said, oh, I want to be on the front page, I want to be on the front page, because everyone will read it. And I have to tell you, it is the most used, most read is actually the board. Everyone reads the board. This is another tool we use. Every day, all the service employees, they're actually printing out, or they used to print out a paper to tell everything that was going on today. And all the numbers of who is actually in charge of who's cleaning the toilets. What is something here is broke? What if I need a medical? What if I need blah, 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 everything. And also what is going on today, and that's, I mean, everything in the garden. When, how, where, stuff like that. And they were actually printing those pages out, so there was around five pages or something like that, and they keep it up in the hat. There's still some of the old ones that do. But now, we actually integrate it here, so actually I can find it there. That's the bottom bit, just to show you. Now we don't have anything in the garden, so it's a very simple thing. But we will also have what's the color of the seasonal pass today. What if I need a re-entrant ticket? What's a symbol for that today? And stuff like that. Are there something else? Is the Queen coming to visit us the garden today? They will be standing there. Stuff like that. Here to say this is about the guest service. All the things that the guest typical will know. It's about the restaurants. Typical will be about the garden things. A lot of people come from the garden. They want to know how deep is the lake in the garden. Stuff like that. It's also about amusement rides, of course. Those are the things that we really wanted to change a little bit. It's a little bit static, as you can see. It's a list. It's very typical SharePoint. Here is the rides that you can see. That you can see all the rides, and you can read a little bit more about them. How old do we have to be there? Do we have to have certain heights, and how many tickets does it cost, and stuff like that. We really want to improve a little bit more to integrate with Tivoli.dk, because we have a very great mobile page for that. Maybe we will do that a little bit more easy for people to use that. Here is HR, which instead of in the old days we were announcing people when they started or stopped in Tivoli as an employee. We were having on the news pages, but to drag a little bit more over to more static places like HR typical would be, we actually announced new names there. And a lot of people check that every day just to see, oh, what's happening, of course, especially around the first. This is just to show a place, a site, that actually you can see this is about how to have a conversation about the next year project for you and your boss, stuff like that. To see, you can find some documents and stuff like that. Very simple. Here, there's all the forums are actually small places that actually we wanted to roll out team sites, but we were not ready for it. So therefore we said, oh, let's try a little bit here. Here is for a forum for the tenants. So it's only the tenants that actually could see those pages here. And they have something different, they have all kinds of documents in there. They can incorporate here, for instance, now they're closed, but here they can actually put in every day and say, in my restaurant, there were so many people today, I sold so many kroners, and I have so many reservations for tomorrow. So they can actually see what is out going, and they can draw out a report every morning. Mobile platform, just to show you how it looks like. We wanted to integrate that actually you shouldn't be able to see anything different for it. We have a no mobile zone that we could put content, so we say, oh, this we don't have to put on the mobile, but why should we? Why develop something for a mobile if you're saying this you cannot find? So we have never done it. Just to see the list of the news. Looks out. It's still in the front page. It looks nice with the video and the key, the article. So the picture will automatically fit in, so I don't have to sit and do 25 different kinds of pictures. Here's on an iPad, an article on an iPad, a newsfeed on iPad, press feed on iPhone, and we have Anders again. And the list, just to show you, it looks very similar to typical from mobile pages. Here we have from the tenants. They can also, I don't think any tenants would put in numbers of today's money account doing it on the phone, but you can do it. It could be something that you wanted to do, change it if you're away from your restaurant and your manager called in, you could change it. And here we have Tivoli today, the one that happened in the hat. They can see it on the phone. Looks like this. Work tools. I showed you already this. We reported the garden calendar. Here we count how many people are in the garden today. We also have a budget for the day. How was it yesterday and stuff like that. And you think, why is that important? Yeah, it could be interesting to see, because if we are expecting a very great Friday rock concert, it could be interesting to know that, okay, is it going well, and how's the weather actually going with this. Here you can see a little bit more of it. It's actually that we can see how many are actually in the garden. At the same time, we can see exactly how many are actually right now walking through and in the garden, and who is walking out the garden. And that's interesting because if we have a very huge Friday rock concert, we need it for security. How many people are actually on the open stage lawn? And therefore it's very important for the police, because they will be in the garden on a huge rock concert, and they need to know how many are in the garden right now. Is there pressure? Do we need to close certain areas in the garden so we can get people around other ways? So that's what they use it for. A lot of the people on the great rock concert, we have a lot of our management are running around the garden, and they have small iPads, mini iPads, and they are constantly running around with this one here. Here again, this is more when you look over to see how was it through a whole period, how was the statistic, how would be predicted correctly combined with the budget and stuff like that. And here, also interesting, how many people are actually in the rides right now. So we have all our rides in Tivoli, and we can see exactly how many people have so far been trying this ride today, and also how much were we expecting. And that's a good way to say sometimes, oh, we have a very crowded down at the small children amusement, maybe we should go down there and help people out, because if there's a lot of people, they have a lot of questions, or they would be very unsatisfied. Maybe we can pull them over to something else and say, hey, in a minute we have a show over at the garden place, or maybe we have on the pantomime theater, come over here and then we'll make sure you come back. We have a free ticket for you to try later on. So we make people a little bit more satisfied. For us, the whole thing of also the Tivoli today, and for the service people, is that we are living after a schedule called the service profit chain. That means that if I'm pleased with my job, I'll be happy. Then I'll make my customer happy. If I make my customer happy, I will make it loyal. And if I have a loyal customer, I will have my paycheck so I can stand here today. So that's actually what we use this for. And here, this is a number of what's actually going on, of tickets that are our own productions in Tivoli. This year you can see we have around 6 or 7. There's different kind, all from ballet to theater, stuff like that. And we can actually see exactly how many tickets were sold yesterday, and for the last week, and for 2 weeks. And you can see how it's going, how is actually we predicted, and for the budget, is it okay, or should we do something else? It's of course very important, because they can do it on the ticket sale, we have a ticket box office, and maybe they can get a little bit more attention to one theater thing or musical, and say, oh, maybe you should see this and stuff like that. And this is the new thing that I'm working on right now. All the 300,000 card holders. We actually wanted to know a little bit more about them. We want actually to access the information on the intranet. Instead of doing it on a separate system, we're actually trying to integrate now. The first one we're going to start with is all the press. The press is around 3,000 card holders, and we have some VIP card holders. And those we're actually trying to go in and put it in the SharePoint, and so we have all the data there. This is a typical where I would start when people are actually, if a journalist are asking for a special press card for Tivoli, they will do it through tivoli.dk. I will get a report and a mail. I will see the whole system. It would look like something like this. And I will see all the people that actually have been asking for a press card. And I will see, have I said it is okay, or should I say no? Every time I say no, I don't think you should have a press card, it will send automatically a mail out to them saying thank you, but no thank you. And I will leave you some tickets, call us if you need to get into Tivoli. Or I would say yes, we would be pleased to give you a press card. It will be mailed to you in 14 days. So this is a very huge system, and first of all we're going to start with the press, then later on we're going to roll out for all the card holders. And that makes it very much more easy, because then everyone at the entrance could actually look up. So when I come with my card and said, oh, it doesn't work, what's wrong with it? In the old days, they said, oh, you have to call in, or you have to go up there. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that. I mean, I want the answer right now. And everyone can now look up there, even on a mobile phone. They can look you up because they have a special ID on the cards. This is this one out here. So when you read it on the card, say, just a minute, I will look you up, and I will find you and see what's wrong. And maybe they'll stand, oh, you haven't renewed your card. Oh, I haven't. Great, pay. It's just another way of showing it. But those are the new things. So what have we achieved for the last 2 years? We have increased our use with 24%. We have 36% of the traffic is actually coming from mobile platforms, which is actually a lot, and I think it's really is increasing highly. The overall employee satisfaction is in the level of 81. We ask our employees, that's very much, if we combine to so many others and other things we have done on internal communication. Our satisfaction from the guest, and you will say, how come he knows that it's 60%? He will just stand there lying. But actually, we do ask our guests on the way out, we will ask them, why were you here? Who were you together with? How long were you here? And were you satisfied with the information? How did you get the information when you walked in? What was the most important? And you can see that from the last 2 years, it has increased to 60% more, that they think when they walk in to Tivoli, they are more informed about what's going on in the garden. In the old days, they were always like, oh, then I had to go to the service center, or I had to get a map to show me where the toilets are, stuff like that. So it tells me a little bit about that actually they're getting the information when they need it right here, right now. And overall, we now have a strategy for it, and it's actually on our strategy that we just renewed, and we also are included now in the budget. And why is that important? I think you all know that. We have our CEO that is very, very communicated on the internet, and he really thinks it's the most important tool we have. So therefore it's important. You need to have them with you. And then also the governance is clear. It has been taken along, but I find myself that I had to throw my body into IT, and I love them to death. You need to have IT on this project as well. And I have actually. They're very aware that we need to, all the new tools that we're actually bringing into our business, we need to put it on SharePoint or our intranet. The next thing is, we will continue to develop. There are so many other things we really want to put in. We need just to take the small steps. There's a lot of things I want to change with the static page sites there. I want to do a little bit more simple on some of the pages. We want to do more social tools. We wanted to integrate more with pictures. Remember, it's young people, they're running around the garden, they want to take pictures. We trust them. We're not afraid of that they're going to post a picture from a beer party at all. And then we are waiting for the new HR system that are actually coming hopefully this summer. And then we are starting a very huge project of doing a strategy of handling our documents. We really wanted to say goodbye to paper, and we really wanted to all those shared files we have on our system and drives. I mean, it's one big garbage. Yes. Sorry I couldn't show it live, but feel free to call me and I would be delighted to come and show you.
Which department, you talk about IT over here and we, the business. It sounds like that you're actually in the core business of Tivoli. Or which department do you belong to?
Communication.
Okay.
Yes.
But you definitely align yourself on the side of the business.
Yes. But I think it's important, really, seriously. I think it's important. As when I started this project, I really said to my boss and said, if we were going to do a new intranet, I will not do a new information channel, then it's not going to be me. We need to do a working tool. We need to go, but it's important. Of course, it's communication. So she said, no, but we need to still inform people. I said, no. People will find the information, trust me. They're used to it. If you go on a newspaper, you will find yourself, if you're interested in sport, sometimes there's sports on the front page, yes, but otherwise you know where to find it. So for me, it is the most important thing is to do a very good business case is you need to show value for the company and the bottom line. And you do that with bringing in a lot of working tools, and you cannot have them all at one time. We will do a little bit step by step. So bring in IT and bring in business intelligence, then we'll show you how you do it.
Thank you. I think it's really, really great. And I think it's great that everything you show begins with, this is because we need to do this to serve our customers, and this is because customers always ask about this and that. And so you obviously know a lot about what customers ask about. So how did you do the research for it? Can you say a little bit about that?
I think it's important to say, I've been doing this travels loop with all you intra freaks. And a lot of you are coming from production companies. And I've always been if you have drivers who are driving around the country, you don't call them, you don't informate them, no. But they know what they need. So we ask first of all our customers. And for me is that we need to put our customers in the front, up in the first place. Because if we have happy customers, I will get my salary. So for me it's a work tool for the customers and for the service people that are out in the garden. And trust me, you will be asked a lot. And that's the whole thing, that's our business, that's service.
What were your methods?
It is actually over so many years that we've been asking. We have work groups. When we open a new restaurant, we invite a lot of women, especially women, because it's women who decide where to go today, how much money, what to eat, trust me. So we ask them and say, what do you want to eat? How old are your kids? What are they going to eat? And stuff like that. So we learn our customers a little bit more. And also our customers, because we're a old park in Tivoli, everyone here, how many has been in Tivoli? Everyone. You feel in some kind of way you own a little bit of Tivoli. That's because you've been there since you were a child. And you don't think that every time we change something, you think, oh, why are they doing that? How dare they? This is not the same. So we all feel a little bit that we own Tivoli. And that means that we get a lot of response. We have around, I think, 150 mails just telling us how to do it and not to do it every day. And then we have Facebook. So we get a lot of sense of what people need and what they don't need. So.
Helle. Helle, du kom.
Congratulations, Simon. You really
Thank
deserve
you.
it. Looks great. What do you do when the park is not open out of season, for example, now to keep the interest and for people, for the employees to still use it? You are normally 500 and out of season and 1500 during the season, so.
Then I'm here drinking. No, actually, as I told you, in the old days we were open from the 1st of May and then to the end of August, and then we were off. The most of the people are off. Now we're open 230 days. That's not very much. So actually my most busy period is actually from January to we open again in April. That's where I do all my strategy and do all ready for opening again, getting new tools ready so we are ready when we open, so we need to test it and stuff like that. So actually we are very busy at this moment.
But to keep the employees interested,
Oh.
there's still a
Yes.
whole group of employees.
Yes. What we do actually is that you have your password. That's actually your employee number. And between the seasons, between the Halloween and Christmas, we don't do anything. Between the summer and Halloween, we don't do anything because it's only 2 weeks or something like that. But after the Christmas and until the summer, we know exactly, we're going to ask people, you are very good, do you want to come back again in April? And they say yes. So we allow them to stay on touch with us. So they are actually reading a lot. They're very, very interesting. We have a very high definition of having Tivoli in our house. And a lot of our service people, they love going in there. And they're even there off-season. And then, as I've told maybe a little bit about, now we actually have musicals and theaters going on outside seasons. Right now we have 2. And we also have conference, we have a hotel, we have 4 restaurants that's open. So actually it's getting more and more all year round that we have people there. So, but of course, it's interesting to see, but I can see the traffic. We do some reports sometimes, and you can actually tell that when we are off-season, a lot of the employees of seasonal workers, they're actually very interested in what's going on, so they are ready when we start again.
So it's still useful for them even off-season?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that they feel that they're still kind of a family, and they don't get off just because they're off in 3 months. So.
Yeah, please.
And I will apologize for not saying congratulations first time around. You talk an awful lot about statistics analysis, so that's I don't think I've heard that here today from anyone else, but maybe it made a bit of research as I have. But I'm very interested to know what you use. You're using a SharePoint platform. What statistic tool you use to find out what's actually going on in your platform?
Just on SharePoint?
Well, on your intranet and on your mobile intranet.
Just what's incorporated in SharePoint 2.10. We don't have a very huge analytic tools yet, not at all. We haven't found the need actually. For us it has been, I mean, we had 6 months to open it, and then actually suddenly there came a lot of tools we want to put in. So for me it's been, okay, let's see, and we can ask people a lot. We can do some surveys, we can ask them there if they're satisfied. And I can tell out from the tool that's already incorporated in SharePoint 2.10, you can find out what I need right now. I'm sure when we get more and more, we need to focus more on, are they actually using the tools? And who are actually using the tools to make sure. But what we did in IT was that they said, all the tools are actually, in the old days, you could go on the system and log on to that. And then you could also log on the intranet. I said, no. You can only go to the tools through the intranet. And I mean, you have to do that. You have to be very strict about it, and you have to say, that's how it is in Tivoli, sorry. So you need the IT to say, this is why we're doing, or your management to say.
Thank you. That was the final question. I think we went 2 minutes over time. Sorry about that. But let's give Simon a hand for the presentation.